Good day, learners! It's nice to see you here in Valenzuela live streaming. How are you? I hope you are doing great and in fine condition. I welcome you again in another journey to fun learning. I am Janelle, and I will help you learn English. Before we start, make sure you have a pen, paper, and your learning packet with you, and try to answer the activities that we will have. Don't forget to participate actively and show respect at all times. Everyone is doing one's part towards success in our teaching learning experience. I know you're doing your part. You are an amazing learner. I am more excited to see you enjoy and learn at the same time. Are you ready? Great! Have you ever encountered a set of patterns like this? Can you guess the missing picture? You may write your answer in your notebook. I'll give you 5 seconds before I reveal the answer. I know you can do this. Go and try. Let's see if you have the correct answer. Can you give me a heart emoji if you're able to get the correct answer? Looking at the first 3 shapes, we recognize that the order of arrangement is such that the number of sides in each polygon increases by 1, going from left to right. The first one has 3 sides, second has 4, and the third has 5. Thus, the fourth one should have 6 sides, implying that A is the answer. How about this? It's time to reveal the answer. Did you get the right one? Very good. Let's label the vertices of the pentagon as follows. And the red diagonal arrow connects 1 to 4, 2 to 5, and 3 to 1. In other words, it is connecting the first vertex to the vertex which is 3 away in the clockwise direction. Thus, we expect the next arrow to connect 4 to 2. So the answer is B. Was it easy for you to give the correct answers? How did you come up with your solutions? Do we have the same way of answering the items? Do you have any idea about our lesson for today? Impressive. It's all about analogy. For today's session, we will focus on supplying other words or expressions that complete an analogy. This is our most essential learning competency. We will use the alternative delivery mode module written by Ma'am Maricel M. Altes of Canumay West National High School. Today, we will develop your critical thinking. Critical thinking? When we say critical thinking, it is the ability to think clearly and rationally, understanding the logical connection between ideas. In essence, critical thinking requires you to use your ability to learn. At the end of our session, you should be able to, first, identify analogy and its basic types. Second, supply words and expressions that complete an analogy. And third, decide on the various benefits of seeing connections between words, terms, and concepts. Analogies are statements that compare or contrast ideas that appear to have no relationships but are related. In other words, analogies are related to ideas and things. The relationship throws light on the similarities and compares the same things to clarify the concepts. The analogy also highlights connections between the target and the source by providing further information on the two thoughts. To clarify the concept further, let us look at the given examples. In ordinary words, this analogy reads as hand is to glove, what is foot is to sock. It does not appear to be clear. Hand and glove and foot and sock have no relationship. But dig a little deeper and you will realize that a hand wears a glove while a foot wears. Let's have another one. Read this analogy as cold is to hot, as wet is to dry. Here, the relationship is between opposites. Cold is the opposite of hot, and wet is the opposite of dry. You must know how to read an analogy. You can do that by knowing what the symbol stands for. The sign colon stands for is to. The sign double colon stands for as. The use of symbolism makes it easy to read analogies without using too many words. Let's have a practice. How will you read the given words? Very good. It is read as frog is to amphibian as dog is to mammal. How about this? It is left is to right as start is to end. You are doing a great job. Let us now study further analogy by knowing its types. There are numerous types of analogy. Some of them are described as follows. Synonym. Synonyms are words that have a similar meaning to the given word, and the relationship is the similarity of meaning. Let's have the following example. Huge is to enormous, as pretty is to beautiful. Huge has the same meaning as enormous, as pretty has the same meaning with beautiful. Antonym. Here, words have exact opposite meanings. This type of analogy shows the relationship between opposites. Example. Happy is to sad, as wide is to narrow. In our example, happy, which means glad, has the opposite meaning with the word sad. The same thing applies to the word wide and narrow. Part to whole or whole to part. This carries category of analogy displays relationships between whole object and their parts. Example, flap is to envelope as chapter is to novel. In our example, we have the part to whole analogy. Flap is a part of an envelope and chapter is a part in the whole novel. Category or type. Under category and type analogy, only one word or pair of words fits the type of category. For example, calf is to boat as husky is to dog. In our example, calf is a kind of boat as a husky is a kind of dog. Action. Action analogy are also called performer to relation analogy and relate to the performer's typical action, such as surgeon is to surgery, as painter is to painting. The surgeon performs the surgery, and a painter does a painting. Function. This analogy points out the actual function of one word that performs some action on the other word. As example, axe is to cut as oven is to bake. In our example, axe is used to cut objects. The exact relationship is applied to the words oven and bake. Cause and effect. As its name suggests, a word or a pair of words cause the effect on the second pair of words. For example, gift is to joy as grief is to tears. In our example, a gift has joy on the receiver, as grief has tears on a person. Degree or intensity. Under this category, one word is more intense than the other. For example, whimper is to cry as chuckle is to laugh. The word whimper is more intense than the word cry. The same relationship applies to the words chuckle and laugh. Symbol or representation. This type of analogy shows the connection between the symbol and its representation. Example, flag is to country as scale is to justice. In our example, the flag symbolizes a country as scale symbolizes justice. I am sure that you are more than ready to accomplish our tasks today. So, prepare your pen and paper and let's have the activity entitled Trip, which means think for relationships, investigate the order for pattern. For each item, I will give you 5 seconds to write your answer. Ready? Awesome. Part 1. Choose the word that best expresses a relationship similar to that of the original pair. Before is to after, as over is to blank. A, under. B, beside. C, through. Or D, around. The answer is A, under. You are correct. The type of analogy that we have here is an antonym analogy. Number 2. Branch is to tree as heel is to blank. A, toe. B, foot, C, neck, or D, leg? This is under part-to-whole analogy. Therefore, the answer is B, foot. Number 3. Spaghetti is to pasta as ketchup is to blank. A, condiment, B, soup, C, fruit, or D, dairy? Spaghetti is a type of pasta. Ketchup is a type of, correct, A, condiment. Number 4. Pencil is to write as meter stick is to blank. A, calculate, B, count, C, measure, or D, weight? You are correct. The answer is C, measure. It is under the function analogy. A pencil is used to write and a meter stick is used to measure. Number 5. Careless is to accident as careful is to blank. A, anger, B, disaster, C, safety, or D, disorder? You are correct. The answer is letter C, safety. And it is under the cause and effect analogy. If you'll be careless, for example, in doing a task, there is a possibility for an accident. On the other hand, if you are careful, you'll be more likely to be safe. I know you want to practice more, so let's level up our game. This time, we will have the extra trick. In this activity, you need to choose the pair of words that best express a relationship similar to the original pair. You may write the letter of your answer in your notebook. Are you ready? Let's have an extra trip. Number 1. Wall is to room as blank. A, lettuce is to sandwich. B, dog is to cat. C, wheel is to car. Or D, song is to dance. A wall is part of a room. The type of analogy that we use here is part to whole. Therefore, the answer is letter C. A wheel is part of a car. Number 2. Teacher is to educate as blank. A, doctor is to heal. B, farmer is to talk. C, engine is to oil. Or D, dog is to The role of a teacher is to educate people. The role of a doctor is to heal people. Therefore, A is the correct answer. It's under the analogy of function. Number 3. Ham is to meat as blank. A, air is to water. B, tennis is to pool. C, juice is to drink. Or D, math is to number. What is your answer here? Great! The answer is C. Juice is a type of drink. Number 4. Optimism is to pessimism as blank. A. Success is to failure. B. Food is to hunger. C. Motivation is to dedication. Or D. Maturity is to youth. Optimism is a positive quality of hopefulness. Pessimism is a negative quality of hopelessness. What kind of relationship do they have? Very good. They are opposite to each other. Therefore, A is correct. Success is the opposite of failure. Number 5. Good is to wonderful as blank. A. Great is to terrific. B. Sinful is to evil. C. Perfect is to flawed. Or D. Scary is to terrifying. This is under the analogy of degree or intensity. Something wonderful is very good. Something terrifying is very scary. Therefore, D is the correct answer. How many correct answers did you get? Great work! Let's make it more challenging because this time, choices will not be available. Let's ready to rock. Let's play Mega Trip. Number 1. Keyboard is to computer as finger is to blank. The answer is hand. Number 2. Wheel is to bike as anchor is to blank. The answer is ship. Number 3. Bird is to fly as snake is to blank. The answer is crawl. Number 4. Dry is to wet as dead is to blank. The answer is alive. And number 5, show is to reveal as conceal is to blank. The answer is hide. How many correct answers did you get? If you answered incorrectly in some of the items, don't worry. You can still improve yourself. One of the ways is by listening to your teacher during the follow-up discussion. They are willing to assist you. Thank you for a job well done. I know you did your part. Congratulations! I hope you have learned a lot from our discussion. I will give you time to post your questions and our teacher moderator will gather them and I'll answer some of them later. Post your questions now. questions to us. In case your questions will not be addressed today, don't worry. It will be answered and discussed by your English teacher during the follow-up discussion. So I'll start answering our first question, and this is from Palanday National High School. Question is, what are the tips that we can have in answering analogy? For that, the only way to become better at analogy is through practice. Aside from that, like what we had in our discussion, try to determine the relationship between the first pair of words. Read all of the answer choices before making a decision. This might sound obvious, but students commonly stop reading the answer choices once they've found what seems like an intense match. So eliminate any pairs in the answers that do not have a similar type of relationship. If the meaning of a word is unknown, try to recollect the context in which you have come across the word. If all else fails, eliminate the unlikely answers and make an educated. Thank you for that. Let's have our second question. How can I improve my critical thinking in terms of my decision making? Thank you. This is from Venteriales National High School. So critical thinking might be described as the ability to engage in reflective and independent thinking. To improve, you may try this simple exercise to help you start thinking clearly. Think of something that someone has recently told you. Okay, then ask yourself the following questions. Who said it? Someone you know? Someone in a position of authority or power? What did they say? Did they give facts or opinions? Where did they say it? Did other people have a chance to respond and provide an alternative account? When did they say it? Was it before, during, or after a significant event? Why did they say it? Were they trying to make someone look good or bad? How did they say it? Were they happy or sad, angry or indifferent? Could you understand what was said? A lot of questions, right? But these are some of the questions that you could ask yourself before you decide. I hope I was able to shed light on your question. Remember, decision making is a tough one. For that, and for our final question from Vicente P. Trinidad National High School. What will be the benefit that I will have if I know analogy and types? Question. Have you heard of the expression, one good analogy is worth 3 hours of discussion? Okay, so successful people not only understand this, but practice it regularly. Learning analogies and mastering them can give you lifelong benefits that you can use in your daily lives. It can improve vocabulary skills, speed of reading, comprehension, address higher order thinking skills, and develop verbal reasoning. Thank you, dearest learners, for sending your questions related to our topic. Your effort in participating in our discussion proves that you are ready to be a better version of yourself. You connected yourself in our today's discussion. For that, great job. With this, are ready to answer the activities that you have in your learning packet. Kindly answer the activity single word analogy. In each item, 3 words are given, followed by 5 choices. Choose the word which is related to the third word in the same way as the second is related to the first. Write the letter of your answer in your next. What I can do is also part of your task. In each of the items, there is a pair of words related to each other in a certain way. Choose the pair of words that is related to each other in the same way as the words in the first pair. And the last part is the assessment. In this activity, you need to study the relationship between the word pair, and you also need to circle the phrase or phrases that are related to each of the following keywords. Again, thank you very much for your participation. Just like what we've learned in our discussion about analogy, script is essential. Think for relationships. Investigate the order for patterns. The ability to use reasoning before deciding on matters at hand can make a difference. Stop and think purposefully. I am Ma'am Janelle M. Raffles, your virtual teacher. Keep safe, everyone. Have faith. See you again in our next Valenzuela live streaming.